the faint rhythmic ticking of a grandfather clock in the hallway, and the scent of dried lavender clinging to an old wool sweater. It's quiet here. Just the amber light of a single lamp casting long, soft shadows across the floorboards. I want you to take a moment to simply arrive. If you've spent the last decade, or perhaps your entire life, feeling like a ghost haunting the corridors of your own existence, I want you to know that I see you. If you have been carrying the heavy, silent weight of being an observer, watching your own hands move, hearing your own voice speak, but feeling as though you are miles away, tucked behind a thick pane of frosted glass, you are not lost. You are simply waiting to be found. I have stood exactly where you are, in that strange, hollow middle ground where life happens to you rather than through you. I remember looking into the mirror and seeing a stranger's eyes, wondering when the real version of me would finally show up to take the wheel. It is a lonely way to live, being the silent curator of a life you don't feel entitled to inhabit. We call it protection, our nervous system's way of pulling us back from a world that felt too sharp, too loud, or too demanding to face head on. But today, the glass is allowed to thin. Today, we aren't performing for anyone. Now let us step into the archive of the heart and speak to the version of you that was never heard. In this corner of the archive, the air is thick with the dust of things left unsaid. This is the space where the observer was born. I spent so many years here, watching the world from the safety of the shadows. I remember being at dinners, at celebrations, even in moments of deep grief, and feeling like I was reading a script rather than feeling the pulse of the room. It's a somatic distance, a literal pulling away of the soul from the skin. Can you feel that right now? As you listen to my voice, notice the space between your thoughts and your physical body. Is there a numbness in your fingertips? A hollowness in the center of your chest, like a room that hasn't been lived in for years? This is the archive of pain, where we store the memories of times when it wasn't safe to be fully present. Perhaps you were the child who had to monitor the emotional weather of the house, becoming an expert at reading others while becoming a stranger to yourself. You learned that being an observer was the only way to stay safe. If you didn't engage, you couldn't be hurt. If you stayed in the balcony, you wouldn't trip on the stage. But there is a cost to the sanctuary of distance. When we numb the pain, we accidentally numb the joy, the connection, and the very vitality of being alive. We become a passenger in a vehicle we were meant to drive. I want to validate that weariness you feel, the exhaustion of pretending to be there when you are actually hovering somewhere above or behind yourself. It takes a tremendous amount of energy to maintain that separation. It is okay to be tired. It is okay to admit that you are lonely even when you are surrounded by people. Your nervous system isn't broken. It's just been working overtime to shield you from a reality that once felt like too much to bear. But here in this dim, quiet library of the soul, the shields can be lowered. We aren't looking for a fix. We are simply acknowledging that you are here, even if here feels very far away right now. You are not a ghost. You are a living, breathing being who has survived by retreating. And today, we are going to gently invite the resident back to the house. I'm lighting a candle here on my desk. The flame is a small, steady amber pulse against the shadows of the room. I find that when I prepare to do this work, this integration of the past into the present, I need the atmosphere to match the tenderness of the task. Take a moment to adjust your lighting, or perhaps wrap a blanket around your shoulders. We are creating a safe space for the 10-year-old you, who is still waiting for permission to stop being so good. Pick up your pen. Feel the cool weight of it. Before we even touch it to the paper, I want us to breathe together. Not a forced clinical breath, but a soft, slow inhale through the nose, and a long, audible exhale through the mouth. Again. Inhale the scent of the room, the ink, the rain outside, and let out a sigh that carries a bit of that tension from your jaw. As I sit here with my own pen resting against the page, I am thinking about the contracts we signed when we were children. We didn't use ink back then. We used our silence. We signed a contract that said, I will keep everyone happy so that I can stay safe. We signed a contract that said, my feelings are a burden, so I will bury them in the archive of pain. Tonight, we are going to use our pens to tear those contracts up. I want you to start by writing 3 words at the top of your page. The weight I carried. Now I'm going to begin writing, and I invite you to do the same. This isn't about perfect grammar or beautiful prose. This is about the rhythm of the pen hitting the paper, the physical, somatic release of moving the energy out of your nervous system and onto the page. I am writing about the expectation to be the adult in the room when I was only a child. I am writing about the fear of making a mistake. What are you writing? Maybe it's the expectation to be the high achiever, the expectation to never be angry, the expectation to be the one who listens but is never listened to. Write it down. I was 10 and I was expected to be a bridge. I was 10 and I was expected to be a shield. I was 10 and I was expected to be invisible. Notice what happens in your body as the ink flows. For me, there is a slight trembling in my hand. That's okay. That is the body's way of releasing the old stored goodness that has become toxic. If you feel a tightness in your throat, just acknowledge it. Say to yourself, I see you. We are safe now. I remember a time when I thought that if I stopped being perfect, the whole world would crumble. I lived in a state of high alert, my nervous system constantly scanning for the next requirement. But as I write these words now, I realize that the world didn't need me to be perfect. I just needed to feel loved. I'm writing to that 10-year-old version of myself now. I'm writing, you were never meant to be a pillar. You were meant to be a child. Let's go deeper into the ritual. I want you to write out the specific rules of the house that you followed. Not the ones written on the fridge, but the silent ones. Rule 1, do not cry when you are sad. Rule 2, your achievements are your value. Rule 3, stay quiet so the adults don't fight. As you ink these words, feel the friction of the pen. The scratch of the nib against the grain of the paper is a grounding, tactile anchor. You are literally pulling these shadows out of your mind and making them physical. They no longer live inside your chest. They live on the paper. I'm pausing for a moment to take a sip of tea. The warmth of the mug is a reminder of the present moment. I want you to pause too. Look at the words you've written. They look small on the page, don't they? They look like old ink and scratches. They don't look like the monsters they felt like when they were trapped inside you. Now, for the most important part of this release ritual. Beneath everything you've written, I want you to write one final sentence in bold, certain strokes. I am officially resigning from these roles. I am writing it with you. I resign from being the peacekeeper. I resign from being the easy one. I resign from the duty of being perfect. As I finish that sentence, I feel a strange, cool sensation in my chest. It's like a door that has been stuck for decades has finally creaked open. There is a soft exhale that happens in the soul when we finally stop pretending. This is the heart of experiential healing. We aren't just thinking about the past. We are actively changing our relationship to it. We are telling our inner child that they are finally off the clock. Keep writing if you need to. Let the words spill out like water. If the ink smears, let it smear. If your handwriting becomes messy, let it be messy. Your messiness is a gift. It is the opposite of the good child persona. It is the beginning of your freedom. I am here, sitting in the shadows with you, my own pen moving in sync with yours. We are two travelers, side by side, emptying our heavy packs by the side of the road. There is no rush. There is no right way to heal. There is only this: the pen, the paper, and the truth that you have done enough. You have been good for long enough. Now, you get to be real. Section 3. The sound of a journal closing, a soft, heavy thud of paper meeting paper. It is the sound of a door being gently shut on a room that has been cluttered for far too long. I'm setting my pen down now, listening to the way the silence in this room has changed. It feels thinner somehow, more breathable. When we move these heavy expectations out of our bodies and onto the page, we create a vacuum. And it is vital that we fill that space with something gentle before the world tries to rush back in with its demands. This is what I call the Sunday reconstruction. It is the quiet, deliberate process of integration. You might feel a strange sort of lightness right now, or perhaps a profound sense of fatigue. Releasing decades of goodness is taxing work for the nervous system. It is a common mistake to think that after a breakthrough, we must immediately do something with our new freedom. But the most radical thing you can do for your inner child right now is absolutely nothing at all. I am leaning back into the shadows of my chair, watching the way the amber light catches the steam rising from my cup. I want you to give yourself permission to drift for a moment. You have spent your life being the one who is on, the one who is vigilant, responsible, and composed. Tonight, let the composition fall away. If you feel like crying, let the tears be the rain that washes the ink into the paper. If you feel like staring at the wall in total silence, let that silence be your sanctuary. We must be careful of trauma burnout. Sometimes when we finally look into the archive of pain, the sheer volume of what we've suppressed can feel overwhelming. We might feel the urge to fix everything at once, but healing isn't a project to be managed. It's a garden to be tended. You don't need to be a perfectly healed person tomorrow. That would just be another expectation, another role to play. Instead, I want you to focus on the grace of being enough. Notice the rhythm of your heart. It doesn't beat because you are good. It beats because you are alive. It doesn't require you to be a peacekeeper or a high achiever to keep doing its work. As you move towards sleep tonight, carry this realization with you. The world did not fall apart because you stopped holding it up. The ceiling is still there. The stars are still moving in their silent, ancient tracks. You were never the one keeping it all together. You were just the one who forgot you were allowed to rest. I find comfort in the shadows of this library, in the way the books don't ask anything of me. They simply exist, holding their stories until someone is ready to read them. You are like that too. You are a story that is finally being told, one slow, honest word at a time. Tomorrow when you wake up, the good child might try to whisper in your ear, reminding you of all the things you should be doing. When that happens, I want you to remember the weight of the pen in your hand tonight. Remember the somatic relief of the soft exhale. We are reconstructing a life where you are allowed to be inconvenient, where you are allowed to have needs that aren't productive. This is the maintenance of the soul, the slow, steady work of staying free. Let the candle burn down. Let the shadows lengthen. You are safe here, in the quietude of your own becoming. As the night settles into its final deepest blue, I hope you can feel the quiet beauty of your own presence. You have done the brave work of looking backward so that you may move forward with lighter hands. If you found a moment of peace here, or if your heart feels a little less burdened, perhaps leave a simple white heart in the comments as a quiet signal to the other travelers. There is a profound aching beauty in finally allowing ourselves to be imperfect and safe. End of script.